And I can tell right away by the CEO's face that something was wrong. He couldn't help it, and he was transparent, and he said, hey guys, because the company didn't meet its quota, we were being let go. And then I'm like, holy crap, what's gonna happen now? I can't what do I do? What am I gonna tell my wife? And the reality is, it's like the unexpected is something that you can't prepare for, regardless of how prepared you are, right? Like the initial impact of something, an announcement or a news being given to you about a certain thing that you weren't ready for, it can only meet you at that moment, and you got to figure out, what do you do with it? And for me personally, stress and negative emotion and feeling is not what I gravitate towards. So right away, I needed to channel a different energy that was going to lift me up and keep me moving. I knew for sure everything was going to be okay. There was nothing that I did personally to contribute to that decision of me getting let go. And, it's about forward momentum. So, unfortunately, that's what occurred. And then we got to figure out a way to move forward. This is a really important lesson for some of my listener, is that, it's not about eliminating the risk. It's about accepting the consequences. Because, working for a startup, regardless of how much money they're paying you, or any company, at any time they can lose money. So if that's where all your eggs are, it's always going to be a risk in order to figure out what financial stability is and how do you pay for stuff that you've committed to. So for me, the consequences of what happens if things don't work out was always in the back of my head. Even now, like in everything that I do today, the consequences of something not working out, I have to accept on both ends, if it's a positive consequence or a negative consequence. Yeah, this is an encouraging podcast for you as you hear the story of the unexpected, of being let go or being fired. The important thing is, you worked for that company, regardless of how long you worked from their skill set that brought you to that place that you have. And there's other opportunities around that's going to keep you moving. But it's important to be able to ground yourself internally first of who you are and what grounds you, so you can encounter the challenges that might be presented in your life that you might not be ready for. And as you encounter it, you got to find different channels of what's going to create that grounding for you, what's going to keep you moving. And you got to be able to lift yourself up, right? Like when something happens, you got to be able to pick yourself up. Like you don't want to continue to live in that space where you're just like, how could this be, man? I devoted all my time here. This stinks. What's wrong with me? Why all this stuff has to happen? When you start contemplating on the negative impact, you're never going to exceed and move forward, because the negative energy is actually bringing you down. You need to channel a different energy, a positive energy that's going to lift you up. And for me personally, my faith has been what grounds me in everything I do. I believe in God and I believe in Jesus, and that's kind of where I go to. I know everybody has their own belief system and where they go to, but that's where I go to. And a lot of my grounding is really that. When stuff like that happens, I'm able to kind of pick myself up and figure out next path. Another thing is the importance of having your own sandbox. Your skill set, your talent, beyond your 9-to-5 job, you got to know how it stands by itself. You got to have your own space where you experiment, you're trying it out outside of your 9-to-5, because what it does is it diversifies your ability to stay afloat if something happens where you don't have that 9-to-5 anymore, but you can still generate other income to keep you moving. It's great. Obviously, I'm not saying that you need to, not focus on your 9-to-5 job. You do need to focus on your 9-to-5 job, but you also need to figure out, how does your skill set and talent stand by itself beyond your 9-to-5? Because those skill set is yours. Your talent is yours. You're the one who's implementing it. And you got to be able to figure out, hey, how do I position myself? How do I commoditize on what I have to offer? And when that happens, when you have your own sandbox that you're experimenting in, when something like this happens, when you're let go or you're fired or something happens, then you can just transition in something different that allows you to still be at flow, because you're now selling your skills and talent to overcome the gap until you find that next move. So it's super important to be able to have your own sandbox. And thank you so much for tuning in to my podcast. Please share my podcast and let other people know about it. Always follow. I appreciate everybody that follows my stuff. And have a great day. Persevere to excel. Go get it.